everyone, and welcome back to Melanin Minds, the show where we're highlighting Black women and femmes in the comic book and manga industry. I'm your host, Natasha, and right here I have...
Hi, I'm Ty. What's going on? I'm also posting behind the scenes to Instagram. So give me like 4 seconds, like maybe 3. Maybe 3. Okay. Well, it's not gonna be anything like I ain't gonna spoil who on it. It's like a little hey, occasionally I hop on this platform with this other beautiful Black woman, and we talk about beautiful Black woman type shit. And that's what we doing.
You didn't lie. I'm just laughing and giggling. Like you didn't even have to disclose the fact that you were doing it. I don't care. I don't care.
I always feel so, and I'll make this quick, but you know how some people they'll ask you a simple thing and then you just feel like you have to defend yourself immediately. Yes. I don't know why, but that happens to me so much. Like I said, very quickly, last year I went to DreamCon and I was moving and grooving, trying to just get through people. I get to the backspace to make it to the hotel to go grab my badge, but everyone I had talked to that day was just so fucking rude and mean to me. I finally came across one kind person and I was just like, look, I'm just trying to get across the way, and I'm explaining my entire day to her, and she's just like, I just wanted to say I liked your hat and that you were really cute. I was like, damn. I'm so sorry. I just feel I have to defend myself, but I do that for everything. So you're right. Anywho, hi.
To make you feel better, I will also post a behind the scenes little something to the stories. So then we both doing it. Now everybody's on the
now everyone's doing it. But anywho, we're on Melanin Minds today. We've got a guest. Go ahead and fill in our audience to the guest that's popping.
There you go. I fill in while you fill in over there in the background. I cannot see. This is why you're here. It helps so much. Today we have a really cool guest that might, for some of y'all, definitely supersede expectations in a way. Our guest today is a software engineer, consultant, a writer. Even if she doesn't think so, I will not take that away from her. I don't care. A full stack developer, which means for those who are like me who don't know anything about developing, basically she knows the front and back end of development. If you want to get deeper, Google is your friend. She's also an indie game dev and the founder of Guava Pixel Studios. She got her BS in computer science from Georgia Institute of Technology, initially going because she wanted to make video games. So, full circle. But actually ended up switching to web application development because she just felt it was a better fit. And so now has over 15 years of engineering experience. And I can only imagine how big the number actually is altogether. She's been going to tech conferences, been places and speaking at places like Tech Intersections for Women of Color and all that cool stuff. And then she said, you know what? I miss my dream of being a video game developer. And so she created Guava Pixel Studios and created a game called the Afterlife Cafe, which is an urban sci-fi fantasy visual novel. And I know Ty is literally freaking out in her head right now. You said what? Urban sci-fi fantasy? Someone take my money.
Right. Just go ahead. Take your how much ever. It's fine. I don't need that anyway. Give me the game.
And as someone who did get to play the demo at Virtuous Con, I was hooked.
I'm so excited.
It is good. And I was mad because the demo was nice and long, and then it ended. And I was like, no! Damn, I need to get the game. And so since then, she's also been able to be on a panel for women's history within animation and gaming, which is really cool. I always love seeing the history of women, and more so Black women, in these creative fields, because people don't understand how much we've contributed. And so I would like to welcome Ugochi. And we're gonna move you over there.
Hello.
We're gonna go over there. Try to finish. Every time the thing just never goes where I want it to go. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Obviously, I'm not functioning properly today.
That was a lovely intro. I feel great about myself after hearing that.
Hey, I love
Oh,
when
you should feel great about yourself all the time, truly.
I mean, you should, but you know,
I'm gonna make you feel welcomed.
But I did a little intro. I would love if you wanted to, if you're comfortable with it, going a little bit deeper in your background and how you got all the way here to Guava Pixel Studios.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm a full stack developer, graduated from Georgia Tech and went into web app development. So with the consultancy side of things, I would be on different projects of different sizes around the country, around the United States, developing software for clients, working on a team. And so I did that for 7 years, lots of traveling, lots of building up my career until I decided I didn't want to travel anymore. And so went into just the product development side of things. So you're at one particular company and you're working on developing that product. Throughout my time, you know, that nugget in the back of your head that's always like, well, what if I did this? Or what if I quit my job and like did this creative thing? Like every time I left a company, that idea would come up, but then I would be like, no, let me just find another software engineering job. Until I think just like the last place I worked, it was just a very strong feeling where I was like, at that point, have been working for like 10, 13 years and was like, usually when you're at a single company for 10 years, you get a sabbatical where you get, 3 months or however long off. And so I'm like, I'm just going to take a personal sabbatical and just chill, just relax. So I did that. Was looking to get back into the software engineering realm and was applying to places. And there was this one place that I had applied to and I got rejected. And I think a little bit out of defiance, I was like, fine, I'm just going to make my own thing. And started off with just making just like a little proof of concept. Well, not little, I should not downplay that, but making a proof of concept application where it's like a meal recommender where it's like you put in, these are the things I'm looking for. Do I want it spicy? Do I want it these particular colors? Do I want it hot? Do I want it cool? And so I made that. And after a while, I was like, okay, what else do I want to build? And then that whole making a video game or getting to the creative space was coming up again, and had the idea of like, okay, I'm going to make a video game. So I started trying to make like different things and nothing was really sticking. And then I realized I needed to build this with other people. I don't think I can just like do this on my own. I thought if I had all the time in the world, like if I don't have this full-time job, I can just do the thing. And then when I didn't have that full-time job, I still wasn't doing the thing. So I knew there was something missing. And then I attended this game dev job fair where I actually met a bunch of people who were also looking for work, artists and writers. And I put myself out there and said, hey, I am looking for a team to build out this project that I have an idea for. And that is kind of how I started making those connections. And that's how I started working on the game. Once I had started talking to people, I was like, oh, okay, this is real now. I have to actually do this. And that really just kickstarted everything.
And speaking of that too, I completely forgot. Didn't you win like an indie game? Crap, I forgot what this called, but you won something.
Yeah, it was an Audience Choice Award at DreamHack Atlanta last year.
Which is
nice.
There was like an indie like corner of like 50 plus different indie devs, and the attendees throughout the weekend would vote on their favorite games and demos that they played, and I won third place.
Which that's actually huge.
That's amazing.
DreamHack is
yes.
So like
yeah, and that was my first like live showcase. The first time like a lot of people were even playing like an early version of the demo. And one of the lessons that I learned from that was, well, one, a lot of preparation went into it, getting the booth set up, doing research, figuring all that up, having an actual like product and like all the effort that went into that. but then also asking people for their vote. It's like a combination of all of that. Like there was even one person who enjoyed playing the demo, enjoyed, chatting, and was like, you know what? No one else has asked me to vote. And so I will vote for you. So it was like a good like lesson in just like, go after what you want, ask for what you want, and you just may get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that's really cool.
That is amazing. Now, you going from such a technical field as being a full stack developer, I have two questions. First, I have to ask the very silly question. I always see like these videos on social media of other like femme full stack developers, and they'll enter into a space, because I know the space is predominantly dominated by men, and they'll enter a new team, and it's just like, hey, just letting you know, female full stack developer, did you know this very common thing that is industry standard? Yes, I am aware of this very common thing. Consistently still getting those questions. So I just have to ask, is that genuinely the space that you work in when you join new teams? Do people still like, that's insane. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was kind of unfortunately like par for the course. Like you would, and it's, this of course wasn't like everyone or every place, but there were, enough times where it's like you walk into a new project and you're doing like literally the basics, or before you've sat down to like start working with someone, they're like, oh, do you know insert basic thing here? It's like, yeah. Yeah,
that's a job, and I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. And then secondly is going from this extremely technical field to a more creative side of the same field. How does it feel? Freeing, or is it kind of just flexing a different muscle, or does it just kind of feel second nature to you to move into a more creative field?
It feels a combination of all of those. I think I was thinking back to how as a kid, those like dress up as your future career day, if you ever had that in school. Well, in elementary school, I remember I dressed up as an artist. Like I had like, I don't know if I had like a beret or something, but I maybe might have like worn a beret and like worn a sweater. I'm like, I'm an artist. But as a kid, like I enjoyed like drawing a lot. I mean, even like as an adult, like I enjoyed taking art classes. I enjoy like, even though I don't fully claim the writer tag, I do enjoy writing and creative writing. And so I think that has always been an outlet, but I feel like I just wanted it to, I guess, take up more of like, with the time and energy that I had, like wanted to do more of that. And even when I always had that inkling in the back of my mind about doing something more creative, I was always like, okay, maybe I'll quit my job and work at a museum, or I'll quit my job and I'll do X, Y, and Z. So I think getting to now like flex more of that muscle and learn more about the technical side of that as well. Like it's not just like I'm doing this thing for fun, but I need to know like the ins and outs of like, how do I properly structure a story and make sure that there's the right like, peaks and valleys and the right climax and the right, all those different beats that you're supposed to hit in an engaging story.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get that writer tag to stick. You just said you enjoy creative writing. You're a writer. You do not need to be a published author, any of that, or that even put your writing out there to be a writer. If you're writing and you enjoy writing, you're a writer. So now I have more ammo to use the next time you try to say you're not a writer.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people that all the time in terms of like, so I also I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to like be a very like avid like runner, and like I used to love doing 5Ks, and I would always tell people who would not want to claim being a runner, I'm like, if you're going out there and you're running, you're a runner. You don't have to like enter in all of the competitions. It's like, if you're doing it, you're a runner.
Right.
Exactly.
And the same thing with writing.
Absolutely.
I will die on this hill.
No. I do think it's interesting though, because you said for this particular project, for your visual novel that you're working on, that you did work with an established writer, but you called them a writing developer, which is such a fun technical term for a writer. Right. What was it like, going into this creative field, realizing that this is such a the project in your mind was so much greater than you. Now you have to work with someone who has to now interpret your idea for you. What was that process like for you?
Yeah. So I would say like their official title is a narrative designer.
That's
And
what it
so like I worked
Mm.
with them to like formulate the overall like structure, like what is, I took basically like the base like vision that I had in the template and the premise essentially, and then brainstorm different ideas with them of like, okay, like what is the backstory, like how do we want, beginning, middle, and end, like what symbolism do we want to come out, and really just like bouncing ideas off of each other regarding how we want the story to go, and then from there working on like it really was a collaborative process, like working on like what are the character backstories, like do they have siblings, even though if a sibling is never mentioned, like do they have siblings, do they have pets, and thinking about all the different characters and what character arcs all of these characters will have and what the player character will have. And so it was really fun like working with them, and then like once I like kind of essentially signed off on the, okay, like this is the structure, these are the beats that we want to hit, and then they went off and then did all of like the dialogue writing and the narration and all of that.
I would like to say that you've got character creation in the bag, because we talk about this a lot when it comes to creating characters, thinking about those off-screen things that no one's ever even going to see in the story, but knowing how important they are to your character and how they develop your character emotionally, physically, all those things, like how your character will react to this can be very different because they have a sibling and their sibling does this thing that irks their nerves, and so someone else outside of the house does it and it irks their nerves because it makes them think about how their sibling gets on their nerves and stuff like that. So you definitely got character creation in the bag.
Thank you.
What is inspiring like the different characters, because I did play the demo and like the main character already. I am so intrigued by what they got going on. So what popped in your head to inspire these characters that you've created? Because also the guy that works at the cafe, I'm really trying to figure out what the heck he got going on. Like he created very intriguing characters. So what inspired them?
Yeah, so the player character, like the main character who you're playing as, I think a lot of the premise and like who she is a little bit of me. Like there's this character, like she's a Black woman, she works in tech, she's new at her job, and kind of harping back to like when I was like new at my job, it's like you're trying to figure things out, you're trying to do well, you're hoping no one, you're dealing with imposter syndrome, like all of that. So there's like a little bit of that in terms of how she sees the work that she's doing. And then you have the other character, Monique, which to be honest, it's like how I see myself a little bit, how I am now. It's almost like my, at the time, like who I would have loved to see, like working alongside me, like this very confident, competent, Black woman who knows what she's talking about. And so like, that's why, those two characters are kind of like that. We of course have Tracy, who I'm not gonna say too much for those who haven't played the demo, but I love the character. I love what he brings, and I can't wait till people kind of see how everything plays out with with Tracy. But I've definitely worked with a Tracy with a character like that for sure. And then you, of course, you have Skylar. So Skylar works at the first Afterlife cafe that you come across. And there a lot of things went into Skylar. I think there wasn't an initial, like, this is what his personality is going to be like at the onset. It was really, I think it just evolved over time of like who he was going to be and how he was going to present himself. Like me and the writer, we literally went over like, there was this template that we found online that was like, here's how you like kind of fully flesh out a character. Like, how do they speak? What are like 3 words that you use to describe like how they speak? So we would go through a bunch of adjectives and be like, okay, we think this is the type of way like he would speak and kind of present himself. And as we were thinking about the main 3, the 3 concierges that each, run each of the 3 cafes, wanted them to all have distinct personalities. So of course, like, you've only met Skylar, but you have Shoji and Anna Maria as well, that you can also get a little, hint at who they're kind of like from the second trailer that's released. But wanting them to all feel very, separate and individual, but still, when you look at them all together, they still all like fit, because they're all kind of like family to each other and how they relate to one another. It's like you have different family dynamics. You have there's love there, but sometimes there can be tension, and so wanting to play around with how that comes out throughout.
Okay. And so I have a two-parter real quick. First off, what is it that inspired you to get into game design initially? I know eventually you were like, oh, that doesn't fit me, I'm gonna do this instead, but obviously it was still nagging at you for years until you still decided to do it. So what inspired you to do game design? And then is there anything urban, sci-fi, fantasy, individually or all together, that helped inspire the Afterlife Cafe itself?
So the first part about why game design, I was motivated to learn coding and get into computer science because of my love for games and computer animation. I remember when I was in high school, and I would, people in my class figure out what are you going to study in college and what are you going to do? And I would be like, yeah, I think coding, that would be cool. And then people were like, why coding? But I think it really was because of my love of video games. My favorite video game of all time is Kingdom Hearts. And I was like, it would be cool to be able to make games like that, or make, movies like Toy Story. I would always say Kingdom Hearts and Toy Story. I want to do that. That's what I want to do one day. And so that was just my initial motivation, being able to really tell creative stories, because I feel like video games is such an amazing medium for that. And whether that is a visual novel or it's an RPG or some other storytelling format, I think it's a great way to be able to do that. I think the storytelling aspect is really the core, because there was a little side quest thing where I was like, I'm going to make a short film. And I bought a camera and was playing around with experimental filmmaking for a few months. But I think, yeah, being able to do storytelling is the crux of that. And then the second part, remind me of what the second part of your question was.
Any stories or anything that inspired the Afterlife Cafe, whether they be urban, sci-fi, fantasy, all together, or none of the above?
Yeah, I feel real life inspired the Afterlife Cafe. I've always been fascinated by the occult, the mysterious, the idea of what happens after we die. And I think that death is a topic that should be talked about, that it shouldn't be shied away from. It's a thing that we all experience throughout our lives, and at one point at the end of our lives, it's something that is very certain that we will all go through. And it being something that's normal that we talk about, that it's okay to talk about, that talking about it does not mean, oh, you're gonna die now. No, this is right. It's just a part of life. And so I thought it would be a really cool thing to make that the center of the game. But really the focus isn't just on the death and the dying. Essentially, when you enter into a death pod, you get transported to the afterlife on a temporary trip, and then you essentially come back to the living world. But you're not a zombie. You're still living. You're fine. But I think that the game is really meant to encourage reflection on life, reflection what does life mean to you, through the conversations that you have with the spirits in the afterlife, through the conversations that you have about death and about grief with your coworkers, with the concierges. And so I think wanting that to be something that's just more normalized in society, and that's just part of the inspiration. My interest in the afterlife, and I love shows that are you're ghost hunting, or psychics talking about they're connecting with past loved ones. I love all of that. So it's let me just put that all in a game.
Absolutely. That's I also enjoy the morbid topic of death, very casually.
Same.
Uh, One of my favorite YouTubers is Caitlin Dowdy. She has the YouTube channel Ask a Mortician, and she just gets into like, I feel like if you like that kind of stuff, you'd really enjoy her YouTube. I can give that to you later. But um, we've been talking about your game very casually, as if everyone who is potentially watching this has played it before, even though I too have not played this game yet. So, do you mind providing a little synopsis? Give some log lines, if you will, of the game, just in case no one knows what we're talking about.
Yes, definitely. So, The Afterlife Cafe is an urban sci fi fantasy visual novel centered around traveling to the afterlife. It is a game that encourages reflection on life by exploring death. You play as a 20-something-year-old tech worker who's new to her job, trying to figure out the lay of the land, dealing with potentially stressful coworkers, and you enter into these afterlife cafes that have these death pods that allow you to transport yourself to the afterlife. While you do that, you kind of have a guide that is the concierge that works at the cafe, and they essentially take you through the motions. They lead you upstairs where you can make yourself a beverage. It is a cafe after all. You go downstairs to the death pod room, step into the machine to get transported to the afterlife, where you chat with spirits and learn about their lives, their regrets, the things that they're proud of. So it is a game that is focused on exploring connections and friendships with the characters that you meet throughout the game, while at the same time exploring and discussing death and grief.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And in making this, we've talked a lot about, just your journey from traditional tech worker to being in this creative field. What would you say is like some, if you experience any at all, was there any difficulty that you had in specifically creating this project?
Yeah, I would say the biggest difficulty is just the learning curve. There is a lot of technical things that go into, like, on the artistic side, like that go into making a game, which I have never made before. So I was able to take a lot of the things that I had from my career, things that I learned regarding leading a team and project management and breaking down complex pieces of work, and all the technical side, like all of the programming and coding, like that is something that I have experience in. But a lot of the things, like, okay, I'm working with an artist, like, how do I conceptualize breaking down the work? What are the phases of work when you're figuring out a character design, and like learning, the process of that? I would say that was probably one of the biggest things, of just figuring out, like, for each person that I'm working with, like I worked with a character designer for the characters, a background artist for all of the background art, sound designer for the sound effects, composer for the background music, and the narrative designer, as we talked about, for the writing. And each type of medium or type of art requires a different set of, like, collaboration skills, essentially, and preparation and source material. So figuring out for each different medium, each different, subsection of like each component that will go into the game, like how to, take that from idea to, there's now this entity, this thing in front of you that you can now play and interact with.
Oh, okay.
So much.
And then, yeah, that is a lot. And actually, I'm actually really enjoying, like, your perception of the creative field. I feel like most of my, like, I would say professional work has been, well, I also worked in tech, but I worked in, like, customer service, so very different animal there. But most of, like, my recent professional work has been in the creative field, and I feel like it just comes so, when I think of the creative field, those processes, one, of course, they come easy to me, but I don't think about those processes in that way at all. I'm just like, we're just shooting the shit, talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna develop a character. But it for us, it's almost like it's a regular conversation, as I'd imagine if you're in a room full of tech bros. It might be very easy for you guys to chop it up about, Python or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's a learning. Like, I know what I'm talking about. Python's like a language. It's like it's a digi language. Yeah.
I know what Python is. It's just so funny. Yeah, you just Got it with the flows.
And I did use Python to build the game. I'm using an engine called RenPy. It's a Python-based game engine for visual novels. So that actually, was a great choice of language.
Damn.
It was divine intervention.
Divine intervention. But again, I love this perspective of taking on the creative. Being creative is a skill, and I think a lot of times when people are thinking about like these creative jobs, if anything, I feel like your perspective helps to validate, working with artists, working with writers. Yeah, like I said, I love the fact that you call your writer a narrative developer. Like that's what that is. That is a skill. I'm gonna start putting that on my. Yeah, I'm a narrative developer. Don't call me a writer.
Next time I apply to a game, the right for a game company. That's what I'm putting on my resume.
Right. But the question I'm trying to get to, but I can't because I have so much commentary, is visual novel. Why visual novel? Because you definitely could have done like I would say like a traditional narrative game, if you will, or you could have built like a roguelike, because I know those are like super popular. You could have done a platformer, why specifically? Yeah, like there's so many things that definitely can tell narratives, but why specifically visual novels?
Yeah, so one, I heard so much advice around like, don't make like your ultimate favorite like dream game for your first game. So that was like the first thing. I would love to one day make like an open world or like RPG type game, which is, I've been ideating on a lot of things, so maybe that is going to be the next thing I do. But I was looking for something that, one, I enjoy the medium. I had played, I think, my first visual novel like recently, like soon before I was thinking about making one, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, I had never played a visual novel before. I love being able to like make my choices, and that impacts the story. So it was super fun. And I was also looking for something that was smaller in scope. And I say smaller, not small, because a visual novel can get very big in scope. And I figured that it was, to me, I could wrap my head more conceptually, not coming from that game dev background. Like conceptually, I felt like I knew I could see what would go into the visual novel. Like I need some backgrounds, I need some characters and some poses, some music, some sound effects, code that all together, and then we're good. Versus like if I'm thinking about like a 3D platformer, it's like I need to do the level design and I need scores and I need this. And that just felt a lot more of a bigger beast. And so I was like, okay, I'll do a visual novel. I think that is achievable for me as like first time making a commercial game. And so that really was the key thing. I was like, again, coming from my software engineering background and focusing on like, what is the minimum viable product, how to keep things in scope, avoid scope creep. Like that was top of mind, making sure that I wasn't like, oh, I can add this and that and that. And then 5 years later, I'm still working on this game. Like I wanted something that I could get out in like less than a year. Now, granted, it's been like a year and 3 months and I'm still working on it, but it will be out in the summer. So it will at least be under 2 years.
That's very, very smart. I think a lot of people come into whatever creative field they're going in, and they want to go all in, go too hard, and then they spend years working on something before they can ever release anything. And I'm definitely not saying rush in and release something really quickly all the time. But
right.
Sometimes it's better to do that smaller thing first, especially if you have other ideas, so that you can get your bearings.
Exactly. Like I wanted it to be a learning experience as well. Like make this game, learn from it. Like there's already so many things that I'm thinking about. Like when I make my next game, like, oh, I'll do this differently, or I'll do this first, or I'll change the order of this to have, a more seamless experience throughout, or to even from like the marketing and visibility perspective, like things I can take advantage of that I wasn't aware of upfront. Little things like, making a Steam page or applying to different showcases. Like for example, a lot of showcases require exclusive content. And so if you've already shared all your exclusive content, then you don't really have much to give. So being strategic in the showcases you apply for and when you reveal certain information can help you boost your visibility. So learning all those little things and thinking about that for the next project.
Very nice. Something we talked about quite briefly before we started recording is about visual novels being a part of the comic book industry, technically. And I think we all came to the agreement that a visual novel is essentially an interactive motion comic.
Yes.
And for you to talk, if you would like more about how far that goes for you and your feelings on that topic.
Yeah, like I feel that a visual novel, it if you were to draw like a Venn diagram, I feel like it can take a lot of things from like cinema, it can take a lot of things from comics. I feel like from the cinema perspective, it's like there's a lot you can do with visual novels. Like it doesn't have to be, static like a print copy. Like that's where you have some of the advantages of it being a visual novel. You can add some more interactivity. You can add characters moving around. You can add zoom in, zoom out, and all of these different things. But at the core, like it can read as a comic. Like if I wanted to port this over and like to a print medium, like it could be a comic. And so I feel like being able to like the similarities, it's like I feel like you have it's visual based, but of course you have the words of the story that's carrying it forward. It's like those I feel like is where like the similarities lie. And I do think it does belong in that world, like comics, visual novel, visual novel, graphic novel. I don't read so much now manga, but I used to love reading manga, and like I had a collection of different a bunch of different series. But yeah, like reading, like I could take a visual novel, like make it a panel, or take a comic and make it a visual novel. Like I can see you like porting, the things over from one medium to another.
Yeah, and I know where I stand. I'm pretty sure I know where Ty stands, but she can chirp in if she wants to. But I think we've all come to the agreement. We're like, yeah, this belongs in the comic book realm of things, especially because a lot that goes into it is storytelling, character design, art, and then basically enjoying the story. Like my personal opinion. And that's why I wanted to have you here. I want us to all see the comic realm in different lights.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to include things like visual novels or in other parts of the industry that people don't talk about enough, especially with so many beautiful Black women doing so many amazing things in all of these. The last thing I would like to ask of you is if you have any words of wisdom or advice for anyone who is trying to get into the visual novel realm of what they can or should do.
Yeah, I think a lot of what is potentially stopping people from getting into it, or at least one of the things that was stopping me, is like not feeling that like can I do this? So I feel like the thing is like yes, you can, like you can do it, like anyone can do it. I think figuring out the smallest thing you can do. So back to like the minimum viable product, like you don't have to make a 20-hour visual novel game with 20 different endings. Like you can focus on like, I'm going to make a single storyline, a 5-minute game. You're clicking through and you're reading. Maybe you have one background or two, one character, a few poses for that character, and that's it. I would say like also looking at what other people are doing. Like if you go like going on itch.io, search visual novels, there's a bunch of free games that you can just play that are different lengths. Like there's a few like 5-minute games, 10-minute games that you can just go and see like how people did things. And I feel like it's important to see like when you're making a thing to know what is being done currently, so you can see like what you like, what you don't like, what you can draw inspiration from. So I think that hopefully helps as far as like getting started. And then from the technical side of things, I will say that, so I mentioned that I'm using RenPy, and I think even if you don't have a technical background, there's not a lot of like technical, like it's not super technical to like get into making the different like pages, and there's like a cool tutorial that RenPy has as well to just get you started. And so I feel like, yeah, and there are so many resources out there. Like if you know, I feel like if you know how to use the internet, like you can definitely like figure it out and like find the things and find the tools that you need to be able to make whatever type of game or tell what kind of story you're trying to make. So that's really it. I would say I would just like kind of to get over the idea that you can't do something. It's just know that you can, and it's a matter of figuring it out. Because all the time I come up against something where I'm like, oh, I have to figure out how to like, I want to do this animation sequence, but I don't know how to do it. And then I figure it out, and then I did it. I was like, oh yeah, I figured it out. I did it. So it's possible. Anything's possible.
I agree. All right. Thank you so much for that. I haven't been doing the Black Women in Comics facts at the end of the episode, but what I'm going to start doing, starting this technically first episode of season 4, is giving book recommendations. I was thinking of which book to recommend, and all of them were people that I do want, that I either have already booked for the show or people that I'm trying to get on the show. So like I would actually like to recommend their book at the end of their episodes. But as we've already had Stephanie on, and Roots of Madness is complete, and by the time we get this up, the volume is probably out. I'm definitely going to go ahead and say, if you haven't checked out Roots of Madness, that is my book recommendation of the week. Please go to your nearest comic shop and pick it up, or get it online.
Yeah, so because we're on like our little morbid thing and we're talking about the afterlife, I would suggest Resenter by Jiji Murakami.
Absolutely.
It also deals with the afterlife, talks her book specifically is more on the cost of revenge and the regrets of living a life and choices that you make, and in that great beyond in which no man has come back from. So yeah, I suggest Resenter from Jiji Murakami. I believe you can read it for free on Viz Media through their one-shots.
Free.
Yeah, and then if you want the physical copy, she also sells physical copies at her anytime she's at a show, and then of course on her website. So that's my
great, because when I do finally, when Gigi and I finally get our schedules aligned, she has other books I can recommend. So so it works.
Oh, perfect! It works out perfectly. Yes.
So those are our recommendations this week. Ugochi, please tell people where they can find you and support your game by the game.
Yes. So the demo is out now. You can play the demo on Steam. Again, it's the Afterlife Cafe. You can play it on Steam or on itch.io. Both links are on my website, guavapixelstudios.com. I'm also on socials, Instagram, Facebook, where else? LinkedIn, YouTube, Blue Sky. So you can find me there, Guava Pixel Studios, and all those places. And yeah, please play the demo and wishlist on Steam.
And if it's out, buy the game, because this should be out like right at the end of summer. So if we're all truly blessed, she'll release this game and we can get it. Ty needs to go play the demo after this. But speaking of my beautiful co-host, it's her turn.
Oh yeah, we're saying goodbye now. Hi, I'm Ty. Sometimes online I go by Black and Culture. And so yeah, if you like, I make content about comics, manga, animation, and fandom, love horror media as well as nostalgic media. If any of that interests you, please follow me on all socials at ELAQUE, the letter N, KULTURE. That's Black and Culture. You can Google me. I do pop up almost everywhere except for Twitter, because I hate that place. But if you want just Twitter antics, you can catch me on Threads, where I'm always saying something ridiculous and wild.
I don't know if I'd say ridiculous. Real.
Yeah. Can you cut that out, please? Don't leave that in there. Don't leave that in there.
We'll
you leave it in there.
Get it in there, and then cut all the after that out. Anyway, this has been Melanin Minds. Y'all are wondering why we're laughing, but it got cut out, so you don't get to be privy to the joke. But this has been Melanin Minds. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button to help us boost all these beautiful Black women and femmes in the algorithm. Leave a comment below if you have any interesting to say. You can follow Melanin Minds at Melanin Minds 24 on Instagram. Yes, Instagram. And also, if you're looking for any books I've written, you can find them at midnightcomics.org or Midnight X Comics everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube, where it's just Midnight Comics. We also do not have Twitter because Twitter can go to hell. Yeah, so remember, as I always say, a small spark can become a huge flame. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.